Good morning, you guys. Bright and early. I hear my neighbors up too. Oh, welcome to Southern Latitudes, and I am Robin, and today is onion transplanting day. I'm so excited about it. These little guys right here, they are just raring to go. And we did a lot. Me and Charlie. I actually had help yesterday. Charlie is my son's brother-in-law, and he was so gracious last week. They came over, him and his dad, to look at something, and I was talking about these piles that I have behind me of mulch and compost, and it was just going to take me forever to get them done. And he goes, "I'll help you." And I was like, "What? Oh my goodness, you would do that for me." I don't know if you remember in the video over a month ago, but when the mushroom compost first came, I was so thankful because my neighbor said, "Hey, you need help?" And I was like, "Yes." And I was supposed to have this group of boys come and help me with all this. Well, then school started back, and as probably many of you are in the same situation, our schools were hit real hard with COVID, and even if they didn't have COVID, they were in quarantine. We had over probably 9,500 kids in our county quarantined. So I was like, okay, that's no longer an option. So I'd been kind of moving it slowly by myself. But then Charlie said, "I'll help you." And I was like, "Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'll take you up on it." It took 2 hours to level that whole pile, and it took 1 more hour to level this pile. So, wow, I couldn't be happier with the results. Here, let me show you a little bit before we get started on the onions. I bet you don't even recognize it. This is my blueberry garden. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I actually did weed a couple of days before Charlie even came here. But wow, adding the mulch from the pine, this is pine mulch, I think size number 2, and putting it in here is just fantastic. Now I still have a little bit more work to do over here, and I can grab from the edges that are just tiny bit higher, and then that'll be perfectly level. I wasn't worried about the little stuff. No, don't ever sweat the small stuff, right? I just wanted to get him here and help get the massive amounts done. So anyhow, yeah, it looks fantastic. I did a slight bit of pruning. These two right here are chickadee high bushes. Oh, they're awful. I'm totally going to replace those with something better. I think that even though I know these grow in my county, in the north end of my county, I just think these are wrong for me in my garden. I don't know. I like these sunshine and emerald bushes so much better. I think they produce better. There's, I think, 3 different Florida native blueberries, and their name's escaping me at the moment. But anyhow, they're also awesome, and I may try to get my hands on some of those too. But these puny little things are not going to produce anything. Might as well get rid of them. And then I also lost a bush over this way too. So it's all good. It's all good. Oh, while we're here, look what's producing. Red roselle. I'm starting to get my calyxes. Look at the blooms everywhere. I love this bush. I absolutely love all my roselle bushes. They make everything feel so fall and festive. I had already put down mushroom compost in this area when I put in the tomatoes and eggplants, but doesn't that mulch give it such a nice touch? That's why I originally bought this mulch, was to go over the compost and hold the moisture in. And I can't even believe I waited so long to get that done. Let me give you a little backup story. So we bought this as soon as we started to shut down for COVID, and I'm glad I did that. But then we went to the dump and we bought more, and there was a second pile here, and then we started to spread it. Then we realized it was just full of you get what you pay for with free, and at the dump it's nice, but it really needs to be sifted through, and it happened to be full of large chunks of wood, and I didn't want that on my pathway. So over, you know, the whole summer really, I've been and spring, it's what filled these beds, like the fruit tree beds here and the fruit tree beds over here. and I had moved it, you know, probably 15, 20 feet's worth of mulch, and I just had this remaining part, and I have totally forgot over time that this was really good, expensive mulch, and it has a really nice quality to it, and it was having worms and everything in it. So anyhow, long story short, I was like, my original intention was to put it around plants, and I was like, okay, let's do that. So I know it took Charlie and I a little bit longer to do that, but he just kept loading up those wheelbarrows, and I just kept spreading it slowly with the shovel. So okay, now let's get in here. This is still work in progress. We left a little bit dumped down there to end up filling this cattle panel when I'm ready. But we're gonna start putting in probably cucumber seeds, maybe today, right here under this cattle panel, the second one. And then this is gonna be the home of my onions. So I had a little bit of mulch just put on top there, but not really that much left. And these are kind of bare. I might be able to skim that pile just enough to kind of put some in here just to look like we have some mulch on top of the compost. The peppers, man, some of them are struggling, like these cherry peppers are just really struggling. I don't know if the bugs are just worse on this end or what, but the Big Berthas are good. The Jimmy Nardellos, the first round look great. Some of the second round struggling. My Greek pepperoncini's not so good. I'm almost down to, I think, 5 of the sweet banana peppers. These are going to be the replacements right here. So mostly they're Big Bertha on this side, and then I have some Lola on the end, and bullnose. This little short squatty one, those are bullnose bell peppers. So I think that'll be something I do probably in the upcoming days, and I will just fill in the gaps here. I don't want the peppers to exceed past mid-garden, so I'm just gonna fill in the gaps until we have whatever set for winter. And I'm so happy about that. Look at this. Oh, I just caught an eye of this. Jimmy Nardellos are starting to bloom. Oh my word. How about that? Makes me wonder. So are the Big Berthas. The big ones, the mature one. Oh, that's great. See, something's eating the leaves. Oh, that makes me so mad. Did you guys ever try using like BT and you go like, what is this? Is so ineffective. It was totally ineffective in the corn and stuff up there in the front. We'll talk about that another day. So in this first row, I have the 1015Y onions. They're big onions. And I'm going to attempt to pull these. Yeah, look at them coming out, kind of like a whole grouping, right? And I'm just going to separate them gently, the best I can, leave the dirt behind, and I'm going to just kind of do what they do when like Dixondale or now Haas Tools I think is selling starts. So I'm just going to kind of pull them gently, real gently. No squeezing. Don't squeeze your onions. And just get them separated out. I have little ones, I have bigger ones. This group's probably the smallest of all the big onion groups. The red Creoles and the what was that? The plethora are actually a little bit larger. Oh, Buddy wants his ball. Anyhow, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put it on time warp, and then I'll come back to you. These are the plethora onions, and I'm really impressed with, I can't say they're bulbing up, but they definitely look like they're thickening up and getting ready here to go. These were seeded, in case you're new to the channel, these were seeded on July 13th. And yes, that's early. I was pushing it. But I babied these things like multiple times a day, in and out of the shed, in every night protection. And that went on for 4 or 5 weeks. And now I've been kind of hardening them off for probably over a week, 10 days. And they just been living outside already in all the elements. And they look fantastic. And today we have 70% chance of rain. It's already rained once. So I thought, as long as we're going to have all this rain, now's a great time to get these guys in the garden. And I know they sell these because I bought them last year. They do sell them at this size, so we're ready to go. I know, like the 1015 onion, it's called that because you're supposed to put it in the ground by October 15th. So that's fantastic, but we're nowhere near that. I'm about a month ahead of schedule, intentionally, because I really wanted to get some green tops going so that I could have better bulbing come the spring, when the vegetation growth is in the fall, and then in the spring you have the bulbing part happen. And I felt like my bulbs were just a little bit small this year, and I didn't get mine started until I think that I got them in the ground around November 9th. So I definitely wanted to beat the November 9th, and looks like I'm going to beat a lot of things. I'm definitely on time. This whole COVID thing is and quarantining is giving me plenty of time to do gardening this year. Limited vacations, limited family time. All right, let's keep going. Here we go, the 1015Y. These are probably the smallest of everybody in the group. The plethora onion. These are all short day onions, by the way. There you go. I'm in Florida, Central Florida. And these are the red creoles, which really have these amazing tops. I think these were started also on July 13th, but man, they just look so much bigger. Just a different variety. It's red. And over here, what I still have left, these are evergreen bunchings, and I have a place for those too. I didn't show you yet in the video. Okay, the others are done in the salsa garden, and so now I have this approximately 10 to 12 foot section of the house garden, and this is, I'm going to stick my evergreen bunching onions here, and then I had some leftover 1015Ys and plethoras I'll put on the end, and so I'm gonna get to that. So excited. Everything's going well. The plants look amazing. I'm just so happy. Happy. All right, everybody. It has definitely been one of my more productive mornings this week, other than maybe yesterday. That was a pretty good one. Moving dirt, but Charlie worked way harder than I did. Thank you, Charlie. If you watch this video, you are the best, and I appreciate everything you do, and you'll be coming back here again, I promise you, to help take down these sheds and coops and whatever else Jack and I can come up with. But for now, I was so happy this is in the house garden. I actually did more than just sort of lift those bunching onions out of the tray. They separated very beautifully. Today, 70% chance of rain. I think I said that before. And the rain just, the sun just popped out for a second. But yeah, I'm still expecting a whole lot more rain. And so we got this beautiful 3 rows of ever bunching onions. That's probably about 6 feet worth of it. That may be the best sowing of evergreen bunching onions ever. Sorry, I said that wrong the first time. These fantastic new seed, everything. I've just, I got disgusted and didn't even really try them last year. But look at that, that's a picture, isn't it? And then over here, since I still had more room, I put the 1015 Y onions in here. I just kind of laid them over on their side and then put the dirt on the roots. That's how I've seen a lot of other people do their onions. I've even been watching people out of Europe, in Eastern Europe, closer to Russia, and watching how they're doing stuff. And so I'm learning. This is not my first or even second year onions, but it is my second year of getting more things right than not. I used to try them in the spring, and that really is just not how we're supposed to do onions here in Florida. It's way better to start them in fall, anywhere where you have heat, like South Georgia down, and anywhere you have heat, it's so much better to put your onions in the fall and overwinter them. They can take the light frosts and all that good stuff. So, and if not, if you're up north, you use the medium and long day onions. It's not a big deal. I just didn't know it. Over here, you'll see I went ahead and threw the cattle panel that was sitting over here. I had double over here, and I went ahead, sorry, that sun's hit me right where the camera is. And I threw it over here just to keep Buddy out of here for a while. Now, I did not do what was typical. Here, let me come over here away from the panel. So I did not do the typical 5 to 6 inch range between each one. You may notice these are a little bit smaller, so you may notice it easier. You see them in pairs of twos. Okay, so I learned this lesson from Shay Elliott with the Elliott's Homestead. She actually does hers in like 3s. But I thought, okay, at least if nothing else, I'll do 2s. And the thinking and theory behind that is that if you put 2 in together, they will just grow outward. Like the bulb, will grow out this way or out that way. And so she puts 3 together in a certain area on a drip line, like at each spout or spigot, and they'll grow out but away from each other. So at least the main set of roots, is on the drip line, but as you get to spring and these things grow, they'll actually kind of come away from the dirt anyhow, and it's just the roots left behind. And so the onion layers come outward. I thought, I'm going to do, that's brilliant. Why waste the space? This year we're trying to get as much onions in as possible. And although, not crazy, but like lots of fresh eating onions. We love onions here. So I thought, let's do the double up plan. There's drip tape underneath all 3 of these lines of these rows. You can see them better on the end where they're exposed, but in here they're underneath the ground. And so I have my 1015 Ys, my plethora in the middle, and then I have my red Creole onions on the outside. And those don't actually look doubled up, but they are supposed to be doubled up, but they're so tight together it almost just looks like it made a row. And then the peppers over here I'm going to transplant after breakfast, and the cucumbers I'll put in after breakfast. Thank you guys for sticking with me through this transplanting video really, and just a little bit of bragging about how we got so much done yesterday with leveling that ground. That's a nice accomplishment really, because that was in my mind way bigger than it really was out here in the field, if you will. Yeah, it was just something I just couldn't tackle, and that's where the Bible says it's so much better to have a friend come alongside you to help lift you up and keep you going. And I'm so appreciative of that. So thank you guys for watching. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye. Have a great weekend.